Howdy, this is Eddie with another episode of Corn-Fed Bushcraft. First off, let me say excuse the wind. It's a good, strong, windy day out here in Texas today. So I'm sitting under the rabbit shed that I showed you in one of my previous videos. Today I want to discuss a little bit about making a fishing spear. A little bit of the do's and don'ts. For ease and mobility, I'm going to use a smaller scale of a stick today to make the spear. Typically you would want a stick at least 6 foot. Personal preference is 8 for me, but let's get to it and I'll show you how this is done. Alright, to get a decent fishing spear, you want something the size of a nickel to a quarter. This one here is just a little bit bigger than nickel, and you want to get it as straight as possible to help with the accuracy of it. Primitive people have used fishing spears for thousands and thousands of years, and there are many different ways. Today what we're going to do, let me move the camera around here for a second, is we're going to start up here at the tip and we're going to split it down both sides, eventually making 4 pieces with sharpened points that are separated out. Other variations, you know, there's another one that I'm pretty fond of. Involves whittling the tip down to a fairly fine point. Then you come off this little edge here and you make little barbs up through it, about 4 inches in. It works pretty good for smaller fish, and I've caught some fairly medium-sized fish on it. But you're not going to be catching, you know, 20 and 30 pound fish with this. This is more of a primitive tool for survival than you know, you're catching these super monster trout or something with, you know, hooking one of these big Texas mudcats or something with it. Like I said, this you're gonna catch perch, things of that nature with it. But the one I'm gonna show you today is gonna be the one I was telling you about. That's split down the sides, and we flare out the ends so that they open up, you know, like this, all the way around it. Alright, let me get the tip of this whittled down. We're going to whittle it down to about here. By whittling it down, I mean removing the bark, taking off the little knobs, and we're going to add a little bit of a dull point to this, because when we flare it out, there are going to be smaller pieces there, and those smaller pieces are going to eventually make 4 points around the ends. Alright, let me get that whittled down and I'll get back to you. Alright, got it whittled down. Put a little bit of a point to it. Now I didn't bring it all the way to a sharp point. Personal experience, you get too sharp of a point there on the end, makes it a little bit harder to split, and you keep your knife good and sharp, you might lose a finger. That ain't fun. I wouldn't think. Whittled it back, oh, I'd probably say 6 inches or so. Now I'm going to split this down the middle, and I'll get right back with you. Alright, now we've split this down the middle, turned it, split it down the middle that way, leaving 4, let's see if we can get it up here where you can see it. Here you go, that's a pretty good view. 4 little stobs sticking out the end of this. Now, as you can see, tips are dull. We're going to sharpen those up, put a nice barb up there, if you will. Now for the important part that keeps those separated and keeps them from closing. Let me reach right around here. These 2 little doodads here. All this is 2 little bitty sticks. Oh, maybe 1.5 inches long. Just long enough to be a little bit longer than the diameter of the stick. I'm going to place those down in there, one down each one of the areas I split, and that is going to open those spearheads up. Alright, now we got those sticks wedged down in there, as you can see. At this point, if you have any good lashing, I would go ahead and tie those in. If you don't, pine pitch usually works real well, lasts for a decent amount of time to hold those in place. But as you can see, it really opened them up. Nice 4-prong point there. Alright, what I did next was I went ahead and get up here where you can see it a little better. Just put a decent edge on these tips. Not razor sharp, just a decent edge. And then I went down just a little ways. Let's get it focused here. And as you can see, I made these tiny little barbs around the tips. Let's see, yeah, here's one. There's one. They're not huge. Like I said, this isn't designed to catch some monster catfish or something. It's designed to get you some food so you can eat. I came about a ½ inch below that. I personally like to put another barb. You know, put 2 or 3 of them down each one of the splines. Most people don't do this. They have a tendency to split off, to peel back, if you will, towards the spear tip after a while. But I figure this thing isn't a permanent tool. You know, doing it like this, it would last a month easy. So I don't mind building a new one once a month if I have to assure that I get them all the way in when I catch one. I figure those little bit of extra barbs, you know, penetrate, hook on a scale, something. And, you know, just that little bit of added chance of getting that meal is what I'm looking for. I'd rather spend, you know, total of 5 minutes, I think is what it takes to make one of these at the most, making a new one every month and not missing a fish, than, you know, having one of these that'll last me 3 or 4 months and miss 4 or 5 fish. So anything you can do to improve your odds when in the woods, you know, it's how you got to think. You gotta focus on making sure that meal is going to be there. Now, like I said, don't forget right here, I didn't do it in this. You can either lash these in or pine pitch. I personally use pine pitch because that is the only thing non-nature related, if you will, to making this is the knife you use to carve it. And I know some of you hardcore people out there can do this with a piece of flint. I don't happen to be one of them. I prefer Memora. But this whole thing could be made with no tools at all if necessary. And that right there makes it one hell of a tool in my book, because anything you can make to help you survive, and it doesn't require any steel or anything like that you can't find readily available in nature, that gets an A+ from me. It really does. So there you have it. We have one completed fish spear. Alright, this has been another episode of Corn-Fed Bushcraft. I hope you enjoyed the video, a little tutorial, if you will, on making a primitive fish spear. So until next time.